Welcome, baseball fans and football fans, and yes, soccer fans as well, to a very special edition of the Highland Bullpen podcast. It is less than 2 weeks now until the greatest sporting show on earth lands in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. It is a star-spangled World Cup on the horizon. But we know you guys love a bit of baseball as well. So today we're going to look at the World Cup and what it means for baseball fans, and particularly what does it mean to the many thousands of members of the Tartan Army and supporters from countries all over the world who are going to arrive in America for the football, but also have a great opportunity to learn more about that other wonderful sport, baseball. So we're going to kick off or take the first pitch, Alan, with yourself. You're a man, you've been probably perhaps the longest among us here, most experience of actually going to baseball games, including spring training and the like. You're a diehard. What do baseball fans do before the game?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I might be the right person to answer that, because it is interesting. It's like a 3-hour game, but and you will see people turning up some way into the game. Quite unlike what you might be used to if you're going to see Scotland v Haiti in Boston. The Fenway Park in particular in Boston is fantastic. It's one of the most historic baseball stadiums. Get along to the area, get along to Fenway. It's a cross between going to one of our traditional football clubs, but having, I don't know if it's an entertainment complex you would call it, but there's bars, there's restaurants, there's hot dog stands, there's statues, there's shops. Go and get yourself some Red Sox gear, go and get yourself hot dogs, burgers, and of course beers. There's plenty to do there. So before the game, yeah, turn up before the game. If the first pitch is at 1:10, get in there beforehand. You can get in and buy an overpriced beer. You can buy overpriced food beforehand, but there's a ceremonial first pitch. There'll usually be some local worthy, whether a former player, whether a local celebrity. They might even have people related to the World Cup, I guess. Would be quite logical. They'll come along and do a first pitch. They'll do it with one of the Red Sox players. There'll be the national anthems, and I say anthems. Every game has the national anthem. And those of you going to games in Boston, they're playing the Toronto Blue Jays. So you can hear both the Stars and Stripes and the Canadian anthem. So there's a lot of stuff going on. It's well worth getting in there. It's stuff to see. Take it all in if you've never been to a baseball game. You might have seen it on TV. Fenway Park will be different. You've got the famous green monster there. So it's unusual. To work it all out. We'll talk about the basics of the game, obviously, as we go through this wee podcast as well. But that's, I guess, the basics of what you can expect. It's not like game kicks off at 3:00. Get yourself in the ground, get your seat at 2 minutes to 3, and get ready to start shouting. There's people will be coming in at all times, but it's a one-off, guys. Go and enjoy it.
Oh, that sounds good. And Dave Jr., I know you're a man after my own heart. I'm a bit of a collector. And I know you love your memorabilia and your keepsakes from various sporting events and other things you've attended over the years. I believe baseball's got a way of sneakily attracting people into the stadium early as well. No doubt, happily to also buy that overpriced beer and food that Alan mentioned earlier on. So it'd be great to get your experiences of that, Dave Jr.
Oh, there are so many aspects, Richard, like you said, to make those days special. I think again, we've spoken a lot about baseball versus soccer in comparisons over the years, and how we think about football fans are diehards. They go to every game home and away. Makes it that bit more difficult for baseball with us having 162 games during the year. So you do find it's a bit more of a casual support, and getting to away games can be tricky. So I think the way that baseball try to entice you along to as many of the 81 home games as you can each season is, as you say, lots of collectibles, lots of memorabilia. And it's not unknown at all that most home games, I think, these days have some sort of theme, some sort of memorabilia to be given away. So uh, I think when we went over to Chicago, the four of us, in August of 2024, we all picked up a White Sox shirt, which was free. I think at the time there was just that one giveaway over those four games that we went to. But last year when I went to the White Sox, and now this year, there's something every night now. So I think that the MLB really try pimping it out every night now. If it's not some sort of way to get you to spend your money inside the ground, as you said, getting you along there nice and early, maybe the first 5, 10, 15,000 punters along may receive some sort of special jersey, a bobblehead. Bobbleheads are really big for American sports. It could be someone historic for your franchise. Imagine back in football, imagine a Jimmy Johnson bobblehead or a Jim Baxter bobblehead. Those would go down really well with support, alongside current stars. So getting into the ground nice and early is a necessity. I know, Alan, have you picked up anything over the years that maybe takes
Yeah, so
pride of?
I've got a few bobbleheads. My first baseball bobblehead has now resurrected itself. It was an LA Dodgers one, but he now plays for the mighty Tigers. But yeah, I think you well know there's a lot of crap in my man cave, as we'll call it, in my house, and yeah, it feels good to know a lot of that's not cost me a lot of money. So Friday the 12th of June, the Red Sox are playing the Rangers, and the giveaway is a soccer scarf, a Red Sox soccer scarf. Now, if the picture on their website is anything to go by, the bad news is it looks like it's green. But I guess that's a green monster, maybe, Richard, and not quite the green monster that Skelton myself might be thinking about. But and it's the first 7,500 people who are going to get one. I wonder if they'll have a few more as well, because they want people to go home happy. No, it's good.
Absolutely,
It's good stuff.
absolutely, Al. No, absolutely, Al. Thanks for that. And yeah, the whole you mentioned earlier there, Al, about the Fenway, the historic Boston baseball stadium, an absolute icon of MLB. And I'm not surprised the scarf will be green, Alan, given everything else around Boston and that famous city. However, I did want to mention to you, great point you made about Green Monster, iconic, historic. And looking for a Scottish football comparison, I kind of wonder if Ibrox, ironically home of Rangers Football Club, is a good comparison in terms of a historic stadium, which still has its famous Archibald Leitch main stand there.
Yeah.
It still has a very historic look, unchanged over very many decades, whereas so many clubs are playing in stadiums with perhaps a little less character. Dave Jr.
Just to bring you kind of back on that point as well, Richard, and for people that don't know, Fenway is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, in the MLB. When I was having a wee look earlier, it was already 18 years old by the time Uruguay picked up their first World Cup in 1930. So it's been on the map for quite some period of time. So I know the football won't be at Fenway; it'll be at Foxborough. So all the F's involved. But yeah, Fenway, for those that do love an old stadium, and you think Britain's got quite a few, and it does attract a certain type of football fan. Fenway really is one to get along to. Alan?
Yeah, I'll just add in there as well, when you talk about the age of it, would you believe both Rangers and Celtic played in Fenway Park in the 1920s and 30s?
Were you there?
Uh, no, I was away to sign on for my pension. Yeah, that's the 1920s, folks. Yeah. Although Liverpool have played there a few times recently, but Liverpool, the ownership is the Boston or the Fenway Sports Group. So it's the can't remember the name of the chap. Is it Henry?
Yes,
John Henry.
John Henry. Yeah,
Yeah. So he owns there. So Liverpool, they've done like pre-season and so it's good stuff.
absolutely. And if there's one other thing that Scotland fans in particular, I suspect, enjoy, no Tartan Army, no party, and tailgates. Talk to me about tailgates, Dave Jr.
Yeah, tailgates, such a popular part of American sports. Again, it's we always feel in the UK we're not looked after as a sporting fan base. Doesn't matter your team or your country. It feels like you really are herded along and just give us your money and get rid of you. As opposed to in America, it really is an all day situation. Let's look after you. Yep, spend your money, but let's make sure you have a good time when you're here because there's more chance that you might want to come back. Imagine that, some sort of customer service. Who'd have thought it?
Never catch
Uh,
on.
yeah, but I think food's great at the baseball games. We've all experienced it by now. It doesn't matter if it's hot dogs or pizzas, burgers, tacos, everything in between. There's so many different concession stands. You will be well looked after. I think you guys are more aligned on the beer front than I would be. Sam Adams, is that the big
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Boston
Boston.
brewery?
big
I think
brewery in the area, and I was checking my Untapped app for the beers I had at Fenway Park, and obviously I'm not a Budweiser or Bud Light fan or whatever, so you do get a good selection of beers. It's not like yeah, I know we're not used to it in Scottish football, but if you go to the rugby or a game in England, it's a limited choice generally of beers. You'll get a wide selection of beers. You can pay $16 to $20 for any type of beer that you want at Fenway Park. If it's Bud Light you want, you can pay $16. If you want a good IPA or darker ale or whatever, you'll pay the same as well. It's not cheap. It's part of the experience. You might even blag a wee souvenir cap out of it as well.
Absolutely. I wonder if I could pay extra not to get Bud Light, to be honest with you. With apologies to any fans of that alleged beer. Yeah, so obviously for listeners there's tons to do before the game. But of course, whether you're talking to some new American friends at a tailgate party, you don't want to seem too ignorant of their national sport when in Rome and all that. So we're going to help you gen up the basics of baseball in 90 seconds. Everything that you really, really need to know, and you can become an instant expert, much like we blagged ourselves into being many years ago. Dave Jr., you're a man with a great handle on the sport of baseball. And you maybe like myself, you maybe played a game of rounders back in the day many years ago at school. So you're the man. Baseball for beginners.
Do you know, Richard, you just took me back there with a game of rounders. You always knew it was the last couple of weeks of the sporting year, the school year, when you get took out to the football pitch. You'd stand in the corner at the corner flag. I think we used to have, was it cricket bats, or maybe even if you were lucky enough to have a baseball bat, and your teacher would bring along probably something more similar to a bloody shot put. They had to use or launch a bouncy ball 400 yards. But so baseball, I mean, it's great. I would imagine if you're listening to us just now, you've got an inkling of what's going on with baseball, or you've listened to a few of our shows before. It's, as you can imagine, it's most similar to cricket. And if you think about going along to enjoy the action as it unfolds, and that's the whole purpose to me. It is more similar to a pastime. It is referred to as America's national pastime. You've got some fantastic athleticism in there, but really it's a day out with your loved ones, your friends. You might even just be going along yourself to keep an eye on the action. Watch it unfold. Every team will get to work through their 9 innings. You need 3 outs to work your way through an inning before it's the other team's shot. Again, score as many runs as you can. You hit a home run out of the park, you instantly get, it's not some other situation where you get 2 points for that. It still just counts as 1 run plus whoever was on the bases at that point. So again, one of the phrases that I'm quite keen on is ball go far, team go far. So you'll often find that teams and supporters will really rejoice in those home runs being hit, quite often with fireworks and quite a lot of celebrations. You can really go different scoring throughout a game. It could be a 1-0 tight win for one of the teams, or you could end up in a 16-15 situation where it feels that runs are kind of constant. Fenway might be, I think it's quite a good ground for scoring. So again, don't be surprised if you're going along to a game and it could be quite quiet or it could be quite busy in terms of scoring. But there's so much to cover. There's really, for those of you that do enjoy a game of cricket, you'll see the similarities instantly. It's a lot, there's a lot to watch, not just the pitcher throwing a ball and then the hitter attempting to hit it. So much happens in between in terms of stealing bases, signals being flashed, and constant crowd interaction. So we really just hope that you find your feet and you enjoy a game, no matter what you do. Alan?
Yeah, no, it's a good point that when you say about cricket as well, because cricket would quite often be 2 innings or possibly more, I guess. But like you've got 9 innings in baseball. But one of the great things about baseball is that they take like an inning about. So it's not as if the whole team are in, you get the whole team out. It's like 3 guys go up. So your team that you're supporting is either batting or pitching every 15 minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes. So there's a turnaround all the time. It keeps it interesting. Probably worth saying as well, the pitcher is potentially the hitters. If you don't watch baseball, it's going to be like you're going to think as the guys are hitting the ball and scoring the runs. It's like your Lawrence Shankland, as he'll probably score a hat trick in the World Cup final, no doubt. But he would be the guys who gets the glory. The glory guys, the big name guys in baseball, are the pitchers. These are the guys. They're generally big money. They're the ones who can influence the game significantly. And the starting pitcher, you will see the teams are probably hoping they're going to be pitching 6 or 7 of their innings there as well. So there's quite there's a few subtle differences there, but there's a lot to take into account. The pitchers used to hit; they know they will no longer be hitting now, and the 9 players, they go through a wee rotation, and these are the same 9 players you see in the defensive positions when your team is pitching.
Great, guys. Thanks very much for that. It was a brilliant and nice, succinct description there. And thinking about the pictures, and again, thinking about football, another similarity is that in football, as we know, substitutes play a huge role. Players get tired, the energy goes, maybe they're carrying a little knock. And so you reach for your bench in football. Substitutes come on and replace the guys there. Well, our name, the Highland Bullpen, the bullpen is effectively the bench for pitchers.
Yeah.
And in almost every game, it's very unusual now for the starting pitcher to last all the way to the end, although historically it happened a lot more often. Generally, teams now will bring in 1 or 2 substitute pitchers over the course of those 9 innings, perhaps because the batting team have a lot of left-handed players coming up. And so some pitchers are more effective against left-handers, etc. So the substitutes, the bench, if you like, the bullpen in baseball plays a really important role, just as substitutes play a really important role. And it's not just pitchers, of course. You can replace outfield players as well. Again, the circumstances might mean you'd rather have a right-handed bat coming in against a certain pitcher than a left-handed bat as well. So that's a great description. Thanks, guys, of the basics of the game of baseball.
Yeah, probably worth.
And of course, those basics lead to what we all want to see. Run. Sorry, Al.
Yeah, no, I think you were going to say that as well. It leads to runs.
Sorry, Al. I think I cut across you there, mate.
No, you're okay. I think you were talking there about runs and that, but I think the one of the great things, if you don't fully follow what's going on with baseball, is they will have a giant scoreboard. That giant scoreboard will tell you who's pitching. It'll tell you how many pitches they've thrown during the game. It'll tell you how many balls they've thrown, how many strikes they've thrown. They'll tell you who the batter is. They'll tell you the batter's history, etc., etc. So that's a really good thing to be aware of. Dave, you've probably, I mean, they'll have different scoreboards at guaranteed rate field with the socks, but the other socks, the white socks.
Do you know, Alan, you're absolutely spot on. It's something I took for granted until you actually pointed out there. I think in Scottish football, even I'm not sure what England's like, but the screens are really reserved for advertisements and then maybe trying to hype a crowd up before the game, half time.
Yeah.
But the screens are fantastic in baseball. As you said, you have every shred of information you could possibly want there. And even on top of that, they've usually got some stupid fun facts to toss it about whoever's on the mound at that moment in time.
Fun games.
And not, yeah, and not just there's usually 2 or 3 screens at about every stadium now, and we're talking gigantic, nothing, far bigger than Scotland. But even running around the levels between your ground level and the first floor, where we normally have advertising, you tend to find that they've got stats running all the way around here as well. Here's the pitch speed, here's the strike and ball count, everything you could possibly want to see. It can feel a little bit overload at times, but if you've missed something in the last 5 minutes, there will be a recap all the way through. And as I don't mean to backtrack, but when you alluded to so many breaks and they are quick breaks, so many breaks between half innings, you constantly get information thrown at you to let you know exactly where you are and to bring you up to speed in case you've nipped out to grab a hot dog or a beer.
Yeah, it's well, that's what I was going to say as well. You talk about the breaks or nipping out to get a hot dog or a beer. Not many people will leave a game of football during either the 45 minutes to go and get a beer or to go and join a queue to get a pie or whatever. It's the done thing in baseball. If you don't nip out, you're going to be sat there for 3.5 hours waiting for a beer or waiting for a break. So people will come and go as they please. They might choose to go when their team is pitching or when their team is batting or when there's certain batters up. They think, I might just go and do it now. If you wait for the break isn't that long, and you will be in a queue potentially anyway. Not that they're massive queues. There's plenty of concession stands.
And unlike grounds and soccer grounds, because I think they're pretty much similar across Europe, but with baseball grounds, wherever you are in a queue, you can see the action. You might only be a couple of yards. You can generally stick your head round and see exactly what's happening in the field. You're not having to worry about nipping down a flight of stairs to go and get to something. Everything is within within 10 yards of you.
Yeah, good.
As well as the old traditional, these guys going down the stairs, offering you beers, offering you popcorn and hot dogs. You don't even need to leave your seat if you don't want.
Yeah, and their aim's just as good as the pictures in many occasions as well. I've been very impressed.
Yeah. There's a skill to all that. Yeah,
absolutely. I think I just watched. They don't throw you a curveball or anything like that. Just be prepared. But it's a fantastic fan experience as well. And those giant scoreboards, just very briefly, you might see on the traditional type the letters R for runs, H for hits, and the E that you often see there is for errors as well, which are mistakes that are made where and it's determined that those had an impact. Maybe a runner reached a base who should actually be an out. That kind of thing as well. And one thing to make clear is the difference between runs and hits. You could get a hit and advance to first base, second base, third base, but unless you get over that home plate, you can't score a run. So often you might see our teams had 9 hits tonight and our teams had 2. But if those 2 are home runs for that team and the other team's 9 hits have led to them constantly getting into scoring positions but not being able to convert, then you can see the team with just the 2 hits winning there as well. So just a little distinction in the game of baseball as well. And we've already touched upon Alan.
Yeah, no, I was going to say as well. It's like when we're talking about errors and hits. That's one of the things you might find quite strange. That somebody gets a hit, small hit, they get to first base, and you think, "Gosh, the crowd are getting excited by that." And it's like, well, that's just like a good pass or whatever, or it's winning a corner, or it's or a free kick on the edge of the box and stuff like that. So the crowd will get excited with different things. The crowds are amazing as well. You might it'll be Red Sox are playing the Rangers and the Blue Jays. The Marlins are playing the Rangers, Miami Marlins. We've not talked about that much. It'll be a more modern stadium in Miami if you're down for the Brazil game. They're playing the Rangers as well, so it's good opportunities to see the best named team in Major League Baseball. But you can be sat beside fans of the opposition team. You'll be sat beside neutrals. You'll be sat beside first timers. You'll be sat beside families. You'll be sat beside nerds. You've got the whole range. Everybody's sociable. Everybody enjoys it. I quite enjoy going to American sport. I like going to see the Tigers in away games, and people chat to you, the home team. They're saying you're from Detroit, you're telling them Scotland. That confuses them even more. But it's one of the great experiences of American sport is engaging with people.
No, absolutely, and that ties into what Dave Jr. was saying about it being more than a sport. It literally is a pastime, isn't it? You see, it's a real sense of community. I think baseball games seem to have, which is a fantastic thing as well. And they managed to avoid even the most heated rivalries. Think Yankees, Red Sox, etc., or in Chicago. Generally, crowds are always well behaved and things never cross the line. So it's certainly not like Celtic or Rangers or some of the European football's most famous, maybe infamous rivalries. The baseball fans can generally be trusted to behave rather better. And I totally take your point, Alan, about the Marlins Rangers games being an opportunity to see the best named team in baseball, because the Marlins are wonderful fish. So absolutely agree with you, Alan.
I didn't see that one coming at all.
But obviously we talked a little bit, and there's great teams, great ball clubs all over the United States. But obviously with Scotland playing in Foxborough and being based in Boston, it feels right to talk a little bit about the Red Sox, who absolutely, as Yorkshire Dave would be the first to tell you, and he would do so repeatedly, a proper baseball club, a proper historic franchise, incredible list of storied players over the years, the legendary Ted Williams and many, many others. What Yorkshire Dave can't be here this evening, so we can talk safely for a little change. What do we really think about the Red Sox? Dave Jr.
Yeah, Boston, they really are. They're an iconic brand. I know that in the UK we seem to have New York Yankees caps everywhere and Dodgers caps, and I'm always a little bit wary. Do people just pick these up because they've been to New York or to LA, and they don't really know that they're wearing the logos of two sports teams? But I have started to see Mets infiltrate the UK scene a little bit. But if I'm being honest, one of the other main caps that you see is Boston. So Boston, they really are. They are a worldwide brand now. Alan touched on John Henry and the Fenway Sports Group earlier. I think that's helped bridge that gap, I think, to the UK sports scene with that Liverpool link. Liverpool are a worldwide name as well. And I think Boston, they've got that history around Fenway. They've got a history not just around being a great ball club, but they're a successful ball club as well. I had to do a wee check. I think it's 9 World Series that they've won.
Yeah.
9 World Series, 14 American League pennants. They generally will be in the playoffs every year. They're that type of team. I'm trying to think who you would like in the Boston too. Do you know, they might actually be similar to Liverpool if you think about linking a UK sports club. They're a giant. They really are. Boston themselves, they not only they're hosting games this year as a city for the World Cup, they hosted games back in '94, the last time the World Cup was over, and it's touted that the games will take in about 450,000 supporters for the 7 games across Boston. I think they've got some group games and a quarter final. And when I looked at the 3 teams that feature most for the World Cup, you've mentioned Scotland already, which is great because, as Dave mentions, it's Boston are about the closest you can get to the UK in terms of an American city. So it's home from home, but you've also really got a lot of fan presence there from England and France, and it did make me think, if you're thinking about Boston's long-suffering World Series drought of 86 years, England if you're talking about droughts for sporting success, there's a little bit of a link there about England's drought to win a World Cup or even a major trophy. And you can even extend that word drought to Scotland's own World Cup drought in terms of qualifying, with it being, what we're talking now, 28 years since we've graced that world scene. So Boston feels right. Boston feels perhaps the right place for Scotland and England to be making so many appearances. Let's hope it's not just group games for Scotland this time, though. We've got a real chance of going forward.
Yeah,
yeah,
that'll be a good
I'm sure we'll cover off
break as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scotland qualifying for beyond the first beyond the group stage of the World Cup would indeed be a revolution, because we've never done that before either. But hopefully this will be the time that we'll manage it. And great points about the city as well. And it is certainly it will feel like a home from home, I'm sure, for many of the visiting soccer supporters there as well. As for the Red Sox himself, Garrett Crochet, the race pitcher, one of the stars of the current lineup at Fenway Park as well. Jnr and Alan, Roman Anthony in particular, one of baseball's very top elite prospects and already a firm favourite with fans there as well. And a final thought on the Red Sox for me is that they're also, beyond being obviously Boston's team, the only team in Boston, they are very much the England standard bearer. Other parts of the United States might have neighbouring states, or within one kind of area, or you may have a number of teams, but they really do, Boston, carry all of New England's hopes.
Yeah, probably a final thought from me. Talking about bars, at Fenway Park, there's a bar called Bleachers Bar. You probably need to get there early to go into it, but if you go to Bleachers, you can actually see the ballpark from inside the bar. So if you get the right seat, you can hang on there. And another bar to visit, the Billy Goat Tavern. Very famous. You can read up about the history of that. If you're looking for it on your Google Maps, it's underneath the ground. Your Google Maps will have you above the ground, so you go down those wee steps. Oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong one there, aren't I? They only messed that up. So there'll be a bit of editing going on here.
Do you know what, Alan? Just in our understandable excitement, we've got our Chicago's and our Boston's in a Franco, but that's not to worry. I'm sure our listeners will entirely understand as well. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic.
You're going to Chicago, that is.
Absolutely, which is also hosting games. Dave Jr.
All I was going to say is, Richard, my takeaway to anyone listening that's going to attend a baseball game, please do wear your sports top. Talk to people. They really are engaging, as Alan's mentioned earlier. They want to know about the strip that you're wearing. Uniforms are big in American sports, and it really starts a great conversation. So please don't be shy. You might just come away finding another hobby.
Good stuff. Appreciate it. It was good chat. Hopefully people enjoyed this issue. Hopefully people enjoy the World Cup, see Scotland go through to the beyond the group stages, and hopefully you found this useful and enjoy your day at the ballpark. So that's another wrap for the Highland Bullpen.